I did an article recently about yoga. One or two people were like saying things such as, "Oh my God, Pantanjali would never take drugs." Well, let me tell you something. This is all tied into the sanitized yoga promoted by the British Raj and their baby Jesus hypocrisy. We need to know a few things about the British Raj and how they came to India. And anything that wasn't nailed down, they stole and called it darky religion and either sold it on the black market or put it in some kind of museum. So then they set about sanitizing yoga for Sunday morning tea because some of their wives or friends were doing this, shall we say, overtly Indian habit. So better clean it up. But realistically, what were these well-mannered gentlemen who spent their days condemning Indian barbarity, but at the same time they spent their nights absolutely effing anything that moved, all in the name of baby Jesus, of course. So we come to the yoga. Well, the yoga really has always been pretty much tied closely with cannabis, but you must understand that during this time, cannabis was not illegal. However, it fell into Victorian hypocrisy. I mean, although Queen Victoria used it for pain relief, it was, you still had the Puritans who said, no, it's a drug we don't need. But anyway, it was always under a shade, to put it bluntly. But in India, there wasn't just cannabis. There was ashwagandha. There was many other things that created the right mental atmosphere for yoga. But back to the British, who could only be described as relatively disgusting. They banned prostitution and moralized about purity, and they conveniently ignored the truth. Indian spirituality was not just about sun salutations. It was rich, it was messy, it still is complex, an interplay of herbs and ritual and ecstatic states. And that probably includes Pantanjali and his crew. Let's be clear, the real ancient yogis and sadhus did not shy away from plant medication. They worked with cannabis, which they called bang. They took soma. Nobody really knows what was in soma, but all the reports about soma, it wasn't some light drug. Ashwagandha and brahmi for clarity, durata for visions, and Tulsi Shatavari, it was a potent adaptions. Literally, in India, there's a living pharmacy to explore altered states and find cosmic truths. So we have to go back to the British Empire's Raj. The same people that told you that purity was really good and believe in baby Jesus looted the Indian temples, calling it civilizing the savages, while simultaneously arresting Indians for using ancient Sanskrit. How do we know this? There was a gentleman called Shikhar Bachur Tabalad who flew a working aircraft in 1895, 4 years before the Wright brothers. Obviously, the British couldn't stand the idea of the Indians creating anything, so they mocked it as black magic and darky heathen nonsense, and they threw him in jail. Has this nonsense of the British Raj died? No, it's lived on. I mean, if we go back to this spiritual circuit within living memory, gurus like Maharishi Mahesh Yoga, who preach celibacy, unless you're a white woman, of course, then spiritual awakening took on a completely new meaning. But the nonsense continues. Modern yoga is, at best, garbage, built on half-truth fads, like the vegan diet, which can be lethal if done incorrectly. For example, vegan influencer Zana Samazovia starved to death at 39 while peddling her pure lifestyle to millions. So the next time some sanctimonious fool says Pantanjali didn't take drugs, tell them to go back to their Sunday sermon, because the real story was much more colourful and much more fun. So, thank you for listening, and namaste.